I don't know you, but I know this. You have internet access and enough time to spend some of it watching YouTube videos. It sounds obvious, but this tells me two more important things about you. One, you're in the top half of humanity's wealth distribution because the other half of the world's population isn't even online yet. And two, since you're here, you're likely fighting a very modern human fight. You've probably already got the basics covered. Food, a roof over your head, etc. For you, the obstacles to a better, happier life aren't all concrete. You're trying to defeat more abstract enemies: laziness, boredom, self-doubt, procrastination, etc. Here's the thing. All these concepts are one and the same, and there's only one way to deal with them. You're not lazy, you're not bored, you're not unmotivated. What you are, what all of us are, is afraid. And the best advice for overcoming fear is the bland three-word sentence Nike turned into the most successful marketing slogan of all time. Just do it. You are not unmotivated. I'm not motivated is never a true statement. Not motivated to do what? Work? In that case, aren't you motivated to avoid it? Every action human beings ever take is driven by some sort of incentive, whether it's money, happiness, peace, or satisfying your conscience. Your motivation may not always be obvious, but it's always there. If you hate every second of the workday, then you're motivated to change your job, but you haven't, which means there's something holding you back. For some reason, it feels like you can't make the change. It's too hard, requires too much effort, makes you too vulnerable to rejection, so you don't even try. But that's entirely different from not being motivated. And it's only a sign that it's time to dig into this feeling. You are not bored. How do I know? Because no one is ever bored anymore. There's no reason to be. Most of us don't even choose to try. We are 100% connected 100% of the time. The great scientist and mathematician Blaise Pascal once said, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." You're not bored. You're terrified of being alone with yourself in your own head. You're not lazy. Laziness is the scapegoat of everyone who's trying to capitalize on your claim of being bored. You're not bored. You're boring, is what they'll tell you. You need a hobby, or a calling, or a $250 fitness program with a personalized meal plan. This too is nonsense. Laziness, like boredom, doesn't exist. As psychology professor Devin Price has explained on Medium, no one wants to feel incapable, apathetic, or ineffective. If you look at a person's action or inaction and see only laziness, then you're missing out on key details. What looks like laziness or self-sabotage, he wrote, is almost always something else. Once again, it's not a lack of motivation. It's the invisible boundaries in your head that you're tripping over, sometimes without ever moving at all. Laziness, boredom, procrastination, all of these are the symptoms of the same disease. We're all afraid of something. We just choose to medicate that fear differently. The number of things you can be afraid of is endless. You're afraid of dying early from a plane crash, or an armed robbery, or a natural disaster, or a newly discovered parasite, even though the odds strongly suggest you won't. You're afraid of being alone because of existential dread, but also because it looks weird and gets weird looks. And if your parents haven't asked you why you're still single yet, your friends most certainly have. You're afraid of writing the first chapter of your book because who thinks that'll ever work out? But you're also afraid of wasting 10 more hours watching Game of Thrones, especially now that you've already seen the whole thing twice. You're afraid of never being rich, but not nearly as much as you're afraid of losing whatever you have. I could keep going all day. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of looking stupid, fear of losing someone or something, fear of wasting time, fear of not being good enough, smart enough, attractive enough. In order to deal with all these fears, you could buy a new book from a new guru each week, collect a stunning array of probably placebo supplements on your shelf, churn through organizational systems, mantras, and resolutions. Or you could wake up and realize that all these fears are the same damn thing. Fear is the same dark creature that's always plagued us. And it will continue to come up with new tricks till kingdom come. You have to find a way to live in spite of it. That dog is going to keep chasing you until you die. And some days it will get to you, but you have to keep moving. Forever. The day you run into the bright light at the end of the tunnel, I want you to look back and give the finger to that dog trailing behind. I'm no more qualified to talk about fear than any random guy you'd meet on the street. I don't have a degree in psychology or even formal training, but like you, I have lived with fear my whole life. And somehow, I've still arrived in a place where I have lots of time to spend how I want and a general sense of happiness. Don't get me wrong, I have my own issues to resolve, but I feel okay taking life one day at a time. And that's what it's about. Beat the dog again and again and again. And the thing that has helped me show up consistently is some version of Nike's annoyingly obvious slogan, just do it. Because besides being annoyingly obvious, it's also universally, inescapably true. Just do it isn't an elegant solution. It's not dismissive or snobby, but empowering and humbling. It's motivation, inspiration, action, energy. People don't realize how deep this slogan is. If it were that easy, don't you think everybody would just do it? No. That's not what it's about. It's about something Marcus Aurelius told himself 2000 years ago. You must build up your life action by action and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible. And no one can keep you from this. If all we did was focus on the task that's right in front of us, we would accomplish 99% of our goals and then some. Sure, we'd still have to pause and reflect on occasion, and not all goals would turn out to be worth chasing in the first place. But we'd get there. This is everything, the whole strategy. You don't have time for big picture concerns when doing. And I don't mean running around all day like a rat in a maze. I mean steadily engaging and refocusing on the task at hand. Just do it is the best advice because it's the only advice that works. Make a promise to yourself. You're not unmotivated. You're not lazy, you're not bored, you are afraid. We are all afraid, and yet we're still here. So every day, choose to be here, moving forward. That's it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you liked it. Hit that like button if you did. Subscribe or subscribe, whichever you prefer if you haven't already. And I will see you, as always, in the next one.